On today's episode, we throw Denise under the bus, the next great animated classic, and LB blows the beans. All that and more on today's episode of Bad Advice with Lori Beth Denberg.
Help me out, almighty Lori Beth Denberg. Give me that vital information so I get the red thoughts to do, yeah. The church of Lori Beth is in session, and we're reading from the scriptures of vital information. Talking my goddess and my savior, my LBT. Just tell me what's going on with me. Oh my goddess and my savior, my LBT. Just tell me what's going on with me. Yeah. The Lori Beth Denberg.
Hello, everybody. This is Lori Beth Denberg, and welcome to the Bad Advice podcast.
Woo!
With me, as always, is Clark Crozer.
Hello.
Hello, Clark.
How are you?
I am doing okay.
Good.
I really am.
Yeah, good.
How are you?
I'm exhausted. Oh, man. School's been kicking my butt every morning.
Oh, and to be clear, that this is Clark's son going to first grade.
Oh, my God.
Not Clark going to school.
No, that was horrible enough. This is horrible on a different
level.
level.
What are the main changes?
It's just waking up. I mean, we've been waking up at 9 since this kid has been born. He was always a good sleeper. I mean, there was a couple of months there when he first came out, but
when he was all coked up.
Exactly. Other than that, it's been a fantastic 6 years of kind of waking up somewhere between 8 and 9 every morning.
Yeah.
And now we have to wake up at like 6:30 in the morning to get ready to go to school.
Aww.
And it's just everyone in the house is dragging.
Every job I've ever had, I've said, they don't pay me to work here. They pay me to wake up.
Yeah, exactly.
Like every single thing. It's like, I don't mind anything about being here except that I'm not asleep right now.
That's exactly right.
So I can feel that.
So I'm a bit exhausted. How are you?
I'm doing good. I went to, as we had a lull in the pandemic.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I'm waiting for, which is funny because I'm going to Mexico.
Okay, yeah.
Just in a few days.
Yeah, that's right.
And I mean, theoretically, I'm going to Mexico in a few days. I have not allowed myself to get excited about it.
Oh, nice.
Because I know at the drop of a hat, it could change. It could disappear. It could plane travel, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or that I would have to make the choice, even if it was just my choice, to say, it turns out Mexico is 100% COVID.
Right.
Do I want to go there and bring it back to my dad?
Right.
And anyone else. But my dad is the only one that I feel like they could try to figure out if I did it on purpose. Like anyone else would be like, oh, no, of course she didn't mean it. And then they'll be
LB.
like, let's look back through their text thread. Because there seems to be some indication this could have been premeditated COVID murder. That's a fucking Law and Order and a half.
Right? That needs to be ripped from the headlines.
That's ripped from the headline. But in this lull, I've actually done some things.
Yeah.
Some things like I went to the Van Gogh exhibit. There's this Van Gogh thingy.
Right.
And it's not an exhibit of his artwork.
Right.
It is an exhibit based on his artwork by another artist, and the whole thing is animated, projected on every wall of a giant building. On the inside. Otherwise, you wouldn't have to pay. I'm just going to drive by and see the irises.
In LA, that would just be the worst traffic nightmare in the world.
Jesus. Yeah, and it already is.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, let's do some hilarious new material about traffic in LA. Oh my God, you guys. I actually have a friend coming to visit me. And I legitimately asked her this question because I'm picking her up. Again, this won't mean anything to you, but like from where I live to LAX, it is, I think, what is literally considered the worst
stretch of
highway in the U.S.
Yeah.
The 405.
Yeah.
The 405 at rush hour.
Right.
And we say the 405. Other people in other states just call it 405.
Right.
It's a whole thing.
Well,
it's like an East Coast, West Coast Red Vines Twizzlers
exactly
beef.
It's pop and soda.
Exactly. So, and I said to her, I was like, well, I'm going to pick you up at the airport And we could either like eat dinner down there,
Right.
or if you want to see the worst traffic,
Right.
which I mean, she laughed. She was like, no, I'm good. And I was like, but maybe she'd really want to see that.
Well, especially when you're coming back from the airport.
Yeah.
Because there is one point on that trip from going from the airport to your house where there is a cinematic, majestical reveal of the San Fernando Valley.
Yes.
There's one point on the 405 where you kind of reach this,
Yes.
you peak the summit.
You crest the hill.
Exactly. You hit this one point, and all of a sudden there's just this gorgeous view of the whole San Fernando Valley.
Yeah.
And is it worth the traffic? Probably not.
Well,
but...
just for your edification, I'm picking her up literally at 5 p.m. Like, it would literally be just
the worst of
the very worst, unless there was some like accident or
Right.
something like unusual.
The only thing that would make it worse if it was a Friday.
Yes, correct. It'll be a Thursday.
Okay, that's not as
It's
bad.
not as bad, but the Van Gogh exhibit was just. I'm going to sound so lame. It was magical.
Wow.
I'm a big fan of Van Gogh. I know I'm the only one, and there's so much in his art and the sadness of the tale of his life that we've all heard. And I don't know if any of you have, delved deep into it. I certainly have not. Like, all the things I'm interested in, I'm not a scholar on. I'm not a student of.
How odd.
Like, I loved getting on that. I'm so about American history.
Huh.
The second I was on, in Philadelphia, I was on a double-decker bus to go everywhere.
Wow.
But I'm not some scholar that's like, well, I've studied this and now I am seeing it come to life. So, and the same with Van Gogh, but I'm very, I've always been very taken with his paintings and the color schemes. You know my colors.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They're Van Gogh Starry Night colors.
Absolutely, 100%.
And and just the, there was all kinds of stuff just in the lobby that I took pictures of, stuff that they had put up to, little, just like decorating the wall, but in the Van Gogh Starry Night blue with this texture reminiscent of like the textured brushstrokes. He was blah, 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 blah. This is getting so highbrow.
Right.
Because I'm a super classy cunt.
Yeah, exactly.
But, that's what I say when someone swears around me and they go, oh, I'm so sorry. And I go, can you please watch your language? I'm a really classy cunt. Or they say, oh, I shouldn't speak that way in front of a lady. And I go, well, when you find a lady, let me know. But so even just besides the fact that this was beautiful and I was going to say it's immersive, but it's called the Immersive Van Gogh Experience.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was really lovely, and I went with a great friend of mine, and it also involved sitting on the floor, which I'm a total floor sitter.
Nice.
I didn't have to, but I could have stood, or then in another room there were like little chairs and stuff, but I'm all about floor sitting.
That's awesome.
And it was just beautiful. And what it is they, it's a huge projection of animation.
Right.
Which will start with elements of one of Van Gogh's paintings, and then the whole painting becomes
kind of forms into place.
Yeah, it's like go look up Van Gogh the irises. So it starts with the purple, flowers coming up, and then the white one comes up,
right.
and then that transforms into another like element of another painting. It's constantly moving with this loud music.
It's a celebration of his art, but done with this like cool CG animated kind of texture added on top of it.
Yeah, it was super wonderful. And especially after however long of like not going places.
Yeah.
Like when I finally realized I could buy tickets to this.
Right.
It's all over the whatever different places.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, I want to go. And I was like, you know what? I can.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm vaccinated.
Exactly.
I'll wear my mask. I'm maskinated.
Right.
And it was just really, really, it was really, really beautiful.
We actually have tickets to go see it as well, but
you
it's
do?
not until like September, I think.
Let me ruin the ending. He cuts off his ear and then he dies.
Oh, damn. Well, it should be fun regardless.
Yeah, that's what I liked when not I said Revenge of the Christ. When Last Temptation of Christ came out.
Yeah.
Which again,
That was the original title, was Revenge of the Christ.
Revenge of the Christ.
Yeah.
The Christening.
But like right before they released it, they were like, it's a little...
So, and again, anybody who's listening to this, go back and look up what that movie was, because it was 30 years ago. I would say to them, like, I don't want to ruin the ending, but he dies. Or does he? Anyway, all this to say that it was just so magical to be there. And I hate using the word magical, but it was.
Hey,
I mean,
when you've been stuck in your house for a year and a half, doing something like this is fucking magical.
Yeah, and I mean, and besides the fact that I find his paintings like
inspirational.
So yeah, like with so much depth that I can just. When I went to speaking of Philadelphia, when I went there, one of the places I went was the something museum. It was like a real like legit museum that had a couple Van Goghs in it.
I love the something museum.
And the like fill in the blank of what you think that was. Like the Porn and Pork Chop Museum. I spent all day there, baby. I was an exhibit. But like there was a Van Gogh there, and I could have stood and looked at it all day.
Huh?
I won't get into all the things, blah blah blah, here.
Right.
But my friend that was taking me around, he was a docent there, but he wasn't working that day, so I had like my very own docent.
Nice.
But he was pretty old, so he needed to like be done. But I could have just sat.
You had a full-on Cameron moment. Like
I did.
From Ferris Bueller, you're just like communing with that painting.
Yeah. And then my docent had a stroke and was like, can you break your gaze for a moment? He was such a lovely man, such a friend of a friend.
Nice.
Who happened to be a docent at this museum.
Wow.
And it was like, okay.
That's cool.
And then he kept, I don't know what we're talking about
I
now,
don't know.
but like he kept asking me questions because they had set up the exhibits in a certain way to evoke this or whatever.
Okay.
And so he would ask me a question like, well, why do you think this is? And I'd answer and he'd be like, you're right. And I was like, I feel so smart. I feel so good about myself today.
That's so awesome.
It was very lovely.
That's very cool.
Anyway, it's not cheap. This is one of those things where like it costs like $50 to go there.
Yeah.
So I'm not like everyone go see it.
Right.
I know everyone can't do that. But
go out and adventures.
Yeah, it was just really beautiful. At the very least, if you don't know Van Gogh's stuff, like look it up on the internet so you can see.
Yeah, very cool.
All the yummy.
Well, before we go too far, I think we should answer some questions because we've got some questions.
Do we have any questions about Van Gogh or what I like to do?
We do not.
Do you have any questions about like my erudite high school dropout persona that I'm having today?
Nope, none of those.
Okay, what do we got?
But we have a nice question starting here with Maria. And Maria says, so, my Aunt Denise divulged to other family that her daughter Melanie had a miscarriage with her boyfriend. I was one of those family members that got the intel. But apparently Melanie had sworn her to secrecy. This was a little impractical considering nothing is ever a secret in our family. And apparently I'm the moron who inadvertently tipped off Melanie that her mom was telling people. At first, I didn't think it was an issue, but nope, Melanie is livid with her mother, and other family isn't happy with me for tipping off Melanie. Melanie isn't exactly making things easier. I love my aunt and I love my cousin. I feel caught in the middle, and I'm supposed to spend time with Melanie soon. What, if anything, do I say? How do I respond if either Melanie or Denise brings up the topic and are angry? Help!
Oh, dear.
It's Maria.
Maria. So there's Maria.
Denise.
Denise is the aunt. And Melanie is the one, the cousin that had a miscarriage.
That's
which,
right.
Melanie, I don't know if you're listening, but I'm very sorry about that. I have this, not with me, but my best friend, her family is very much like this. Like her, like there's no need to be like, this is a secret because it doesn't mean a fucking thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Everyone's going to know.
And it's like, you don't tell her mother anything.
Right.
Without thinking it's going somewhere.
Exactly.
And that's on you.
yeah, exactly.
Like, it's on the teller to know who the telly is.
Yeah.
But in this case, if you're saying nothing is a secret in our family anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know if other things are on this emotional of a plane, and it does suck to be Melanie, because part of this is when you're going through something like that, you want to process it. You need to share it with someone. But what you might not want is everyone calling you going, oh my God, I'm so sorry. How are you? Sometimes that's what you want. And that's when you tell people.
Yeah.
And sometimes that just makes it harder and worse.
Right.
And you having to explain it 100 times and tell the story 100 times.
It's almost like it steals the power from her for a second and makes her have to do chores instead of being able to just deal with the trauma.
To just sit, exactly. And it's kind of like that question we had the other day or 10 weeks ago, whatever it was.
Right.
I don't know. But it was a question, I'm sure you'll remember, about a woman who was saying, how do I, when I need to, bring up that my husband died kind of casually. Without making the other person feel, ugh, and then there's this whole thing.
Yes.
And she said the onus is on me, even though I know it shouldn't be. But that's just how it works.
Yeah.
And you don't want to have to end up comforting everyone else when you're already dealing with that
trauma.
So I don't know if this is on the same level. Who's this question from? I'm sorry.
This is from Maria.
I don't know if this question is on this situation of like a miscarriage is the same as, your other aunt and uncle, their kid flunked out of school or something, whether it's gossip or whether it's like true life stuff like this, or even good news, because that would be a thing too. If you just told your mom you were pregnant and don't tell anyone, and she was like, everyone knows. What, everybody?
Yeah. Oh my God, I'd be
my
furious.
daughter had sex. It's like, that's a weird way to exclaim it.
I didn't know that Denise was played by Fran Drescher in this situation.
Everyone is Fran Drescher in my mind. Pretty much. But so it's this dynamic where Maria says nothing's a secret in our family. But the real issue is, and then I know also what it's like to be the one to be like, oh, fuck, did I just blow the beans?
Right.
Blow the beans, spill the beans. Did I just blow the deal?
No, I like blow the beans.
Yeah, I just
Did I just blow the beans?
Yeah.
I like creating new colloquialisms.
I love it. Hashtag blow the beans.
Blow the beans.
There's something to that, but that's not on. I don't know, Maria, if it was like, now make sure you don't tell her.
Right.
But at the same time, like, why? That's shitty too. The problem is with Aunt Denise. The problem is with Aunt Denise and her divulging this. I mean, this is mother and daughter.
Right.
Not that obviously it seems like you have a close family, but the confidence was broken between mother and daughter.
Right.
The fact that you brought it up, and I'm sure in a way that was like, I'm so sorry. Like,
exactly.
I can't imagine you were like, hey, way to miscarry.
Yeah, no, and nowhere in the question does she say that Melanie is mad at her.
Well,
Melanie is mad at her mom for telling.
But didn't she say something like Melody's not making it? Is it Melody or Melanie?
Melanie isn't making things easier, but I'm sure that's just her being like,
yeah, well,
mad.
And I don't blame her.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. But so that's the main thing, is that it's between, like, if Melanie, there's a couple things that I would say, and then I saw Clark took a deep inhale, which means he has something to say. But I'll say first, like, you said, what if anything do I say to her?
Yeah.
You say, I'm sorry that you didn't want this out, and it was. The reason it is because we're close and we love each other.
That's exactly right.
And so It's nothing I wouldn't have heard anyway. I understand. I mean, throw Denise under the fucking bus.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I understand if you're frustrated and angry with your mom. And we can talk about that too. But even that is like, she wants you to have the support.
Yeah,
and people.
that's all I was going to say, actually, was
yeah.
to bring up that Denise clearly has good intentions. I don't think she's going around spreading rumors about you having a miscarriage maliciously. Like, she's not doing it to kind of get at you.
Yeah.
I'm sure Denise is telling family members like you, Maria, because she wants you to be there for her daughter, and she wants her daughter to have support. And that's all you need to tell Melanie, Maria.
And not that it's the same, but when you look at it from Denise's point of view, she lost her grandchild and she knows her daughter is hurting in this immense way.
Yeah. And
she might have needed to share her pain, which inadvertently, or however, it has to then share Melanie's situation as well.
Right. That's right. And I feel like that's all you need to tell Melanie. Just remind her, it doesn't sound like Melanie is mad at you. She's mad at her mom. Just remind her, look, I know you're mad at your mom and you have every right to be mad at your mom. However, you just try and keep in mind that she was, concerned about you, and she wanted me to, the reason she told me is she wanted me to be here for you. And I don't think that's a horrible idea. She just was going against your wishes a little bit.
Yeah. And it's like, I totally get that.
Yeah.
I completely understand why, not Maria.
Denise.
Melanie. So
many names.
So many names.
I know.
I want to go back through and count how many times we say that. Like, I was listening to the one, it was the question we did that had Donna and Wally and Janet.
Yeah, Weedy Wally.
Yes. And I was just like, we say everyone's names a million times.
I know, I like it.
But in this one, we have to keep it straight.
Yeah, exactly.
What I would do as far as like, what do I say to her? Pop the balloon. Because I'm not discounting any of your feelings. I'm not saying that you're not right to feel exactly how you feel, Melanie. But I know this now.
Yeah.
We know this now. How can I help you?
Exactly.
Can I help you by not talking about it at all? And we go to the fucking movies or rearrange your pantry?
Or do you want to, get some booze and get drunk tonight and hang out by a fire pit? Or like, do you want to just spill your guts?
Yeah.
Do you want to say nothing?
Do you want to plot to kill your mother like Heavenly Creatures? The movie Heavenly Creatures is really cool and weird. And they did an episode of The Simpsons based on it.
Oh, really?
But they didn't bring it up at all in the commentary.
How weird.
Yeah. And I'm like, is it a coincidence? I don't think it's a coincidence.
How odd.
But it was they didn't plot to kill Marge or anything.
Right.
But the rest of it was so clearly to me from Peter Jackson's Heavenly Creatures with a very young Kate Winslet. I thought all the Lord of the Rings nerds would be like, Peter Jackson. I must. Not that they don't know everything he's done already.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, I have all of his films tattooed on my leg. So anyway. Wouldn't be bad advice without a weird tangent.
A weird Simpsons tangent.
Exactly. So, Maria, pop the balloon, pop the awkwardity.
Yeah.
And just lay it out.
Blow the beans and let it out.
If that's true, if that's really the dynamic, I knew this. You didn't really want me to. My mom, you know your mom. Not that excuses it.
Right.
And,
now that I know, what can I do for you?
Exactly.
I think that's perfect.
Throw Denise under the bus.
Yeah.
Throw her under the double-decker bus that I'm on in Philadelphia.
Make her blow the beans.
Going to Ben Franklin's house.
Exactly.
Yeah, blow the beans.
All right. We're moving on to question number 2. Question number 2 is a bit dark, but here we go. This is from Barbara.
Okay.
And Barbara says, my husband just passed. He was sick for a while. I knew it was coming, but no matter how ready I thought I was, I find myself still trying to sort some things out. My question for you is, when should I take off my wedding ring?
Oh. Well, this is so weird because we just referenced that other.
I know.
Question.
We're getting a lot of dead husband questions recently.
Is there like a grief support group that's listening to this podcast?
Maybe.
Well, I'm sorry your husband. I know I
Yeah.
just made a bunch of hilarious jokes
I
at your
know,
expense,
exactly.
Barbara. But
Oh.
yeah, it's just very interesting that
Yeah, right?
this
Maybe
is
it's COVID.
Yeah,
It could be.
could be. That's a horrible thought,
Yeah,
but
right.
true enough. It's one of those things where it's like, of course, it's up to you,
right.
And part of that could be, I mean, did she say her husband recently died?
Yeah.
Okay.
My husband just passed.
Well, there's a couple things that people do. Well, first of all, I would say keeping the ring on isn't some sign of like denial or
Right,
something.
of course not.
You
of course
know,
not.
and it's kind of like, you know, people wear a fake wedding ring out to be like, I'm taken, don't bother me.
Sure.
So I might say that if you're in a place eventually where you want to go on a date with someone
Yeah.
or have a relationship or anything like that.
Even if you're just open to the idea of it.
Exactly.
Like you might not be actively searching, but if the thought of it makes you feel like, oh, that would be nice to have another person that I can talk to. And
yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Another person to blow the beans with. Then that's one like very clear mindset and demarcation of like, okay, I'm taking off this ring. Taking off the ring doesn't mean you're forgetting the person. It doesn't mean that they weren't important, all that kind of stuff. And there's also this thingy about, should I put my ring on the right hand?
Right.
You know, on the right, not correct hand, but right hand. If it's on the left hand for I'm married, I can still wear it, but on the right hand.
Exactly.
Or wear it on a chain around my neck.
Exactly.
Like, oh God, that reminds me. Here, okay, I'm going to say this.
Okay.
Sex in the City is ridiculous bullshit, and I've seen every episode like 5 times.
Okay.
So there was this towards the end, Carrie.
Yeah.
Who I don't even think I have to say to our viewers, go back and watch this. I think they may have seen it. Our viewers, our listeners.
Our listeners.
Carrie gets engaged to this guy and it's like, why? And it's ridiculous. And so he gives her a ring and she wears it on a chain around her neck. And he's like, you don't even wear that ring. She's like, it's closer to my heart. And I was like, bitch, give it back and walk away. Yeah. This is embarrassing.
Oh.
It's fucking embarrassing. And then she ends up with Big and we all love it. And I've seen it a million times and both the movies. So like, fuck me twice. But, in your situation, Barbara, you could do that. You could transition to that if you want. Because if you're even asking this question, that, says that it's in your mind. And I know that there's a lot of, just from experiences I've had with people over the years, over my lifetime, there's this guilt of, if I take this off, and there's the guilt of if I take this off, I'm forgetting them. I'm disrespecting my spouse who passed away, or, if I don't take it off, it's not true that they're gone. Like there's all different ways to like that it smushes in your mind to mean what it needs to mean to you.
Yeah.
To some degree, it's kind of like a safety blanket.
Yeah.
Or it could be just a prison or, it's going to be very individual. But I would say, if you find yourself in a place where you want to meet someone, even like Clark said, just to talk, just to go on a friggin', dating website.
Right. Even if you're not, even if you're not going to do it, even if you're not going to log in and sign up for the app or whatever it is, just the thought alone was like, oh, I would like to kind of meet somebody.
Yeah.
That's a good moment to start thinking about it.
Yeah. And if the ring on your finger is this constant reminder of I don't do that, I'm married, and then you go, oh, I'm married to a dead guy. And then it's like, if that whole thing is cyclical, then you can take a breath and take the ring off and give yourself a moment to breathe because you're alive and you have life left.
Well, that's a good take on this question. There is a very good possibility that the question really is, can I take it off now? Maybe it's not about like, oh, I want to keep it on forever. When do I take it off? Maybe she's asking like, should I feel guilty if I want to take it off now?
No, girl. Hawk it and get a ticket to the Van Gogh exhibit. And And then she's like, God damn, if my ring's not worth more than $50. Yeah, I mean, I assume because she's asking the question, it's a question of like when. But if you want to take it off today.
Yeah.
But even with those other examples that I gave of like putting it on the right hand or wearing it around your neck.
Right.
You know, or putting it on your bedside table so it's the first thing you see in the morning and the last thing you see when you go to bed.
Honestly, I feel like that would, if I had a friend and that friend lost their partner, that would seem really reasonable to me. Even if within the week they wanted to transfer that ring to someplace else, if they wanted to put it to a chain, or, you know, even if just looking at it was like hard on their heart, it would be maybe it's a good thing for you to take a little distance.
It's so funny because obviously dear listeners, I'm looking at Clark. And so he just like, you know, was miming like taking a ring off. And the first thing that I thought was like that moment, ladies. And again, this is so hacky, but like, when you get home as a chick and you take your fucking bra off, and it is just the relief of the goddamn millennium day. I was just like, because you were like, if you take it off, if it's like, you know, reminding you, and I was like, oh, I would take my bra off right now. But I'm sitting down and my tits would probably slap Baggy in the face.
He's sleeping so peacefully.
You want a tit slap, Baggy? You want to blow the beans? Anyway, Barbara, I am sorry about your husband. And you do what feels right. We've given you some options.
Live for the both of you.
Yes.
I don't know what that means.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's your girl, Vivica Fox. I got a brand new season of Hustling with Vivica A. Fox out now. That's right. Join me and this season's guests as we talk about our professional and life experiences to give you tips and tricks to make sure your hustle game is always at 100. If you've missed any episodes, you can catch up right now. Just go to Hustling with Vivica A. Fox on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. Please welcome the amazing and talented Tiffany Haddish.
Hey, she ready.
My girl, Tammy Roman.
Hey, Vivica.
Jackie Harry.
Yeah.
Hey, girl.
Hey, Viv.
My baby sister, Lisa Ray McCoy.
That be me, girl.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and download so you can be ready for all new episodes dropping every other week. Your hustle game will thank you. Bye for now, darlings.
Hi everyone, I'm Haley Hasselhoff, and this is your invitation to join me each week for my podcast, Redefine You, a conversation for well-being. We are all on a journey, and it can be tough, but I want you to know it's okay to not be okay. There's so much strength and vulnerability, and I'm here to show you just that. Each week, experts and my friends in the entertainment world will open up like never before, speaking to us about their journey to ownership to self and their personal relationship with their mental well-being. Redefine You, a conversation for well-being, is available on your favorite podcast app. Remember to subscribe and download so you don't miss an episode.
All right, let's move on though to our rotating segment of the week.
Oh.
And I'm very excited for this one. This is a real old flashback taking us back to high school. This is Flashback.
Flashing back with Clark and LB, let's talk about some fun memories. 'Cause it's a flashback.
It's so soothing. Today's flashback brings us back to our high school days.
Yes.
And we were going to school about 2 blocks from where we're recording this podcast right now.
Clark has doomed his child to go to the same high school we went to.
And we were really good friends. Of course, we knew each other since second grade, from your second grade, my first grade.
Correct.
And we've talked to each other in junior high and high school. So we knew each other. We were walking into high school already friends.
Yes.
And so we would always hang out.
And one of us walked out.
Well, we did a lot of stuff. We worked mostly on theater and plays and that kind of stuff. But when we weren't doing that, we had tons of little inside jokes and goofy shit that we did to each other and to other people.
Yes.
And one of the craziest things that I think we started to do, even though it was basically you, me, and my best friend, Logan. And we were always together. And Logan was, from the day I met him, just the most phenomenal artist.
Oh, yeah.
Just a phenomenal artist. To this day, he paints life-size portraits of Disney characters every year for my mom.
Yeah.
On pieces of wood so that she can put it all outside to decorate her house.
I mean, it's not, he's saying portrait makes it sound like a picture and a frame.
Right.
It is like the whole character.
Right. It is a life-size representation of
like
the character.
Gaston is just standing on, Clark's parents' porch.
Exactly.
Being Christmassy.
There's a Wreck-It Ralph that's literally about 7.5 feet tall.
Yeah. They're really beautiful.
They're amazing. So he was always into cartooning and comic books and art. And man, I glommed onto that.
Mm-hmm.
He was, he always kind of glommed onto my acting stuff. And then I always glommed onto his art stuff. So he and I used to draw all the time, especially in high school. I was always drawing comic books, really artistic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
LB, you weren't as artistically inclined, right?
I am not.
No.
I am not artistically inclined.
And yet,
I wanted in on the action.
we decided that we were going to do a comic strip.
No. This had nothing to do with you.
No,
I just brought you into it.
This was like an existing thing that you had.
Well, I thought because you guys were all such good actors and stuff, I was like, I want to do a comic strip.
You mean artist.
What did I say?
Actor.
Oh, yeah. Artist, sorry.
Artist.
Oh, you're a fabulous actor, too. Don't sell yourself short. You're so negative all the time. We have to have a talk about this.
I really blow the beans.
You blow the beans. I am not artistically inclined, so I wanted to, but I'm like, I want to do something. So it's this kind of joke comic strip based on the fact that I couldn't draw.
Right. And based on the fact that you were currently in a math class.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, was I?
I think you had to have been. It was high school, wasn't it?
Yeah, nothing really applies to me, though, Clark. I don't know what it is. But either way, the characters in my comic strip were, it was called Earth Angles.
Earth Angles.
So the three characters were, Lefty.
He was the right angle.
Yes. Lefty, Killer, and...
Oh, my.
Oh, shit. We should have thought about this first. Slim. Slim,
yes.
Lefty, and Killer were the characters. Slim was an acute angle.
Right.
Lefty was a right angle, and Killer was an obtuse angle.
Right.
And the other part that I can't draw was the entirety of the first comic took place at a stop sign.
Okay.
Because I could draw an octagon. Is it
Sure.
an octagon or a hexagon
Octagon,
for a stop sign? So I could draw a stop sign and it would be recognizable as a stop sign. So this was one of those whole things where I was the Bernie Taupin, but I didn't have an Elton John. So I wrote these really funny,
we're talking
goofy
comic strip.
Yes, comic strip.
From the newspaper, 3 panels.
Yes.
Right? This isn't a full comic book. This is just a quick little one joke.
Oh, no. You know what? It wasn't. It was a whole story.
Right.
But
a continuing story.
But you're exactly right to point that out. It was like comic book panels.
Right.
And I would just
comic
draw the
comic strip panels.
And I would just draw the little word bubble pointing to whoever's mouth, quote unquote mouth.
Right.
They were not characters.
Right. They didn't have faces.
They didn't have
hands,
anything.
They didn't have legs.
There was just angles, which was really funny because there was one panel I remember, and you really loved this, where one of them said something really strange. And then the next panel was just nothing because it was just
right,
they're all just what?
Yeah.
And then the next one, I'm like, I just draw nothing, not doing anything. And I hope everyone gets it.
I cannot tell you how often I think about Earth Angles. I don't know why. That was just something.
Well, people liked
so
it
funny,
too.
and we were showing it to a lot of people, and
I
everyone
did
really liked
another
it.
one where I gotta find these. They must be somewhere.
They gotta be somewhere.
I did a second one that I can't. I did a second one that the background was a tree, and they were at the park.
Okay.
And then there was another character angle that came in, or a square or something.
Yeah.
And there was a girl circle character in the first one.
That's
like, there were whole little stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the third one I worked on that I don't know if I ever finished it because they kept getting bigger and more grand in scope, but not in artistic value.
Exactly.
Because then the last one, I remember the whole background was a basketball hoop.
Oh, nice.
Because I could represent that.
Sure.
But I have to tell, I don't think I've ever told you this story.
Okay.
I was working on Nickelodeon, working in general as an actor.
Yeah.
I have had the opportunity to go to charity events and all this and volunteer places and do stuff like that.
Yeah.
And one of the things I did was go to be a counselor for a weekend at a camp for, I can't remember the name of the organization. It was years and years ago. It was a camp that was for homeless mothers and their kids.
Wow.
Like kids and moms who lived in the shelter.
Wow.
And they got to go to camp for the weekend.
How nice.
And we had gotten all of this stuff donated and put together like bags of toiletries
that's
and
amazing.
all this kind of stuff. And then there was like a big kind of, big to do on the last day with lunch and activities. And one of them was somebody had donated like a jillion blank canvas bags. Like, like we use now every single day of our lives.
Sure.
And the whole thing was here's markers and paint and stuff, and you can decorate it.
Okay.
I did not know what to do. As we have said, I am not artistically inclined. So I decided to make a 9-panel Earth Angles.
What? On the bag?
On the bag, and it was really good. Well, it was what it was, but I just remember, Slim was kind of like the scheming guy, the scheming sly guy.
Right.
And then Lefty, who was the right angle, was just kind of like the straight man.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he was our window into the world.
Right.
And Killer was obtuse.
Right.
He was an obtuse. Are you calling me obtuse? That's Shawshank again. We talked about Shawshank not that long ago. What did you call me? Obtuse. You're being obtuse. Well, I'm going to murder you and everyone you love.
Yeah, exactly.
And then take pies with money in them and then shoot myself in the mouth.
Oh, yeah.
That
was Shawshank in 2 sentences.
It was.
We need to do more 2-sentence movie reviews.
Exactly. So, I'm there and I'm like, okay, I'll do this bag. And the bag was like, I think it was like 9 panels or maybe 6. And so the first one was the 3 guys, I don't remember the background, and just saying, let's remember all the great stuff we did. And then the next panels were just like one still from, they're all still.
Like a flashback montage?
Yeah, it was just like the next one was them in the bus stop.
Okay.
The next one was them at the tree.
Sure.
With a line from whatever, the basketball court. And then they come back and it's like, that was nice. And then Killer goes, what does reminisce mean? And so I was like, okay, I'm pretty pleased with this bag. I think I don't have it anymore.
I was going to say, where's this bag?
I think I might have let it go because it got like ripped up and stuff. I might have. I might still have it.
Wait a minute. Let it go like trash or let it go like given away?
No, let it go like the bag was trashed.
Okay.
But now that I think about it, why didn't I save it and
just frame that art?
Exactly. Because
wouldn't that be amazing if it was like sitting in some like
museum?
No. If it was in some like what's the place where you give all of your clothes for charity?
Oh, like the Goodwill?
Like the Goodwill. Like there's some Goodwill in, Boise, Idaho that has this bag.
Or somebody takes all my Earth Angles and does the immersive LB exhibit. Like the Van Gogh exhibit.
And it's all animated.
It's all animated.
I cannot tell you how much I would love. If there's anyone out there that can get an animated show started, I swear to God, I think Earth Angles would be this age's South Park.
Yeah, it was, I mean, it was funny and it was sharp and it was everything I could bring to it.
Yeah.
And the fact that I cannot draw was highlighted and acknowledged.
And the fact that all 3 characters could be drawn using 2, maybe 3 lines if the obtuse one had the little circle on the corner.
No, the right angle lefty had
the little like
had the little swoosh
right in the
to
middle.
show that it was 90 degrees.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
no, here's the story.
Okay.
When I was making that bag, there's all different celebrities came to this, Sunday barbecue.
It was a Nickelodeon.
No, it wasn't. I just was from Nickelodeon. Okay. And you will see in a moment when I tell you that Martin Sheen
oh my God,
was over at this like bag making station.
Wow.
Meeting people and everyone's excited to meet him. I don't know if this was West Wingy or before.
Okay.
I can't remember things.
It had to have been West Wing because I feel like West Wing was when you were on.
It was late 90s. I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, it was Martin Sheen, who's already like a thing.
Exactly.
For 30 years before
Martin
I was
Sheen,
born.
That's President Kennedy, you
exactly.
idiot. Goonies.
So he's there.
Yeah.
And
he's making a bag.
I don't know that he was making a bag. He was just kind of hanging around.
Okay.
And then, but some of the mothers were, asking, can I take a picture with them?
Oh, okay.
And so, and I don't remember if it was like before cell phones.
Sure.
Especially before picture cell phones. But, so, and I'd be like, yes, at one point, Martin Sheen is taking a picture of me and, a woman.
Oh, no.
And then he goes, well, you must want one too, he says to me. And I'm like, okay. And then I realize he just thinks I'm a homeless mother.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, I don't, for those of you who haven't been up close, I don't wear makeup and I don't necessarily give a shit about like clothing or anything.
Well, let's also be considerate to Martin Sheen, not really the Nickelodeon audience.
Oh, that's no excuse. I clearly looked. I mean, plus
people were coming up to you to take your picture.
Yeah, exactly. No, and I don't have any issue with it. It's just really funny. But also, I guess you're right to say that because I was there being a camp counselor all weekend. It wasn't like I'd gotten dressed up to go to this event.
Yeah.
But I just was like, afterwards, when he was like, well, you're going to want one of these too. And I'm like, I've taken like 10 pictures and he hadn't taken 10 pictures of me. But I was like, oh, Martin Sheen thought I was a homeless mother.
Yeah.
And that's okay to assume that.
Yeah.
He's not far off.
Oh.
Or like I could, like, that's not a mistake that would be like, I can't really call him on that.
No, not
but
really.
What I found out though, in retrospect, is that he loves the Steve Harvey show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, big fan.
How I didn't picture him to be part of that audience.
Huge Steve Harvey
Interesting.
fan.
How interesting. Anyway, all of this
I
basically.
gotta find those. I'm gonna look for them.
We have to.
And if I can find them, I'll put some stuff up on Instagram.
Comedy Central, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim. If you're out there, good Lord, LB's Earth Angles is gonna be the funniest hit of next year.
I hope so. It was a good moment in my life. People really liked them, and I was
Earth
like,
Angles was
this is good.
A solid idea.
Excellent.
Anyway, we are moving on to our final question of the week.
Okay.
And this is from a lady named Alina. And Alina says, I am a single mother. Hey. I am a single mother, and my daughter has been overweight since she was a toddler. I grew up fat and was overweight until I got gastric bypass when she was 3, the daughter. She is 8 years old and now gets teased by other kids. I have tried to modify her food, but she has a fit or finds a way to sneak food or manipulate her babysitter into giving her treats. Just this once. I don't want her to have the same issues I did in adolescence and my early 20s. Picking the wrong men and feeling terrible about myself. What can I do? Alina.
Ay, Dios mío.
Yeah.
There is so much in that question.
Yeah, there is.
Most of which is about you. And it brings to mind, I think the issue is, I mean, God, there's so many issues.
Yeah, there's a lot.
But when you're talking about like a little kid who's prepubescent.
Yes, 8 years old.
8 years old. Nothing's set in stone. Like things are going to change. And I don't know Alina, you said you were a heavy kid, but was that from, birth? Was that from, whatever? And then we get these ideas put in us that you're fat, it's a problem.
Right.
And at the same time, it's like looking back at a picture of me in high school and I go, I'd give anything to look like that right now.
Right.
And I was like the fattest, it was insurmountable then.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in high school, you were like, you thought you were the only one of your kind.
Yeah.
There was nobody that looked like you.
No, there was me and Gilbert Grape's mom.
Yeah, exactly.
But looking back now, it's like, oh man, I'd kill to be that again.
Yeah.
But part of that could have been, weight was definitely a family issue,
Sure.
which it is now for Alina and her daughter.
Sure.
And the issue is projecting my experience onto someone else. I don't have a kid.
Yeah.
So, Lex is not fat.
No, not yet.
Lex is a little skinny thing. Let's start fucking with him now. Let's everybody we'll all start body shaming him and we'll do one of those like football squares and we'll all like write the weight we think he'll be when he loses it.
Oh.
This is, everybody do this at home with your kids. But the problem is being so young and being literally not physically mature yet.
Yeah.
Implants in us like, well, you're not good. You're too fat. You're this. When for all we know, a kid could hit 13 and be like, zoop.
Yep. Exactly. Hit puberty.
And obviously that's not everything. And there's, plenty of kids that throw a fit because they want a cookie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the difference is between saying, no, it's not time for a cookie. We're going to have dinner. Or saying like, oh, you're too fat. You can't have a cookie. Do you want them to keep making fun of you?
Right.
Like that's the shit that just
never leaves you.
Hit me with a ton of bricks that I'm still carrying.
Yeah.
And so it might help, Alina, for you to take a step back and look at, I'm not saying this is what you're doing.
Right.
I'm saying, because I'm like, I don't know you, I don't know your daughter.
Right.
But I kind of feel like I do.
Right. These are just the typical pitfalls of this kind of a situation.
To take a step back and consider the language that you're using with your daughter around food and body image. The simplest thing of like, like I said, like, no, it's not time for a cookie. We're going to brush our teeth soon.
Right.
Or it's like, no, if you want to look good, then that's like a whole other thing.
Right.
Which turns the food into this forbidden fuck you for a kid or a kid or a 45-year-old.
Yeah.
Or beyond.
Yeah.
I'll let you know next year after my birthday if it's still going on. So there's that. And then I don't know how heavy you were, Alina, that you had gastric bypass.
Right.
So, and I don't know how heavy you are now. So if she's looking at her, skinny mom or whatever, hopefully you're just healthy.
Right.
That's just what I hope. But, and I know plenty of people have had gastric bypass as well. And it is an amazing tool.
Mm-hmm.
It is not a fix when there are emotional issues at play that surround food.
Right.
And so
and how do those emotional triggers get started? By talking to your kid like that.
In childhood, usually.
In childhood.
I mean, there's other traumas. There's, like somebody could be raped and then do that as protection. Like there's all kinds of stuff. But if we're hearing now from a mother who was overweight and made fun of as a kid.
Right.
And now is experiencing the same thing with her daughter.
Right. Doesn't want it to happen to her daughter.
Exactly. And it is. She's like, kids make fun of her because she's fat. And it's like, tell her to wait till she's 45 and look back at her, junior picture. And you'll be like, it'll be fine. Trust me. But so that's one thing is, and you're the mom and she's 8 years old.
Yeah.
So you will have control over what food is in the house.
Yes.
Unless she knows how to use Instacart, which she probably does.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like everybody knows everything now.
Right, exactly.
She's got her own, she's like, I'm going to get my cell phone and use your credit card to order Instacart donuts.
Right.
And you can suck my dick, Mom. So you are the one controlling what's in the house.
Yeah.
You're the one controlling what. I mean, she's 8. She's sentient human. She could go in the cupboard, but what's in the cupboard is up to you.
Right.
But again, if there's this punitive, you're fat and that's bad mentality to every single piece of food you put in the house, you know, it's so impactful emotionally and behaviorally.
Yes.
And I know that is a hard, even without being a mom.
Right.
I know that is a hard thing to do. I want to do what's best.
Right.
But I want to do it in a way that doesn't make you feel like shit, my child.
That's exactly
and
it.
That's what's really hard. I mean, if there ever was because I said so, you know, then it's like, well, because the other thing is, well, I was fat you're fat.
Yeah.
First of all, child, you're fat.
Yeah.
And so was I.
Yeah.
And these are all the horrible things that happened to me.
Yeah.
And they're going to happen to you. Like, that's a lot of you, Alina.
Yeah.
Barfing onto I hope she wasn't bulimic, but, you know, just like really dumping out your issues into her situation, which granted are the same.
Yeah.
But how much of it is her habits, which again, you have control over as she is only 8 years old.
Right.
And her experience with kids making fun of, you know, kids make fun of everybody for everything all the time.
That's 100% true.
And this also, though, brings me to like, I think I'm pretty sure we talked about this in the weight loss and body image episode, which we should probably do another one.
Yeah, that was 1,000,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Like episode 12.
Episode 12. People said yes, episode 12 was great because they really liked it.
Yeah.
Send it. I'll put a call out for body image questions around because there was but so I won't get into this whole thing, but I had gone to fat camp a few summers in my life.
Yeah.
That's a whole other thing.
How old?
13, 14, 15. And then I was a counselor for a couple of years.
Wow.
God, maybe I went like 5, not in a row, but like, I think like 5 years, 5 or 6 maybe.
And those were probably the 5 years right before all that, right?
Yeah. And actually,
the only reason you probably stopped was because you moved to Florida.
No, it coincided because I remember that I left fat camp one year when I was a counselor to fly to Florida to sing the national anthem at a Marlins Mets game.
Wow. So you even did one after you started the show.
Yeah, I did at least one summer after that.
That's crazy.
Which, by the way, didn't work for me. And it's a whole culture of whatever.
Yeah.
Send in your questions about fat camp.
Yeah.
If you want to send your kid to fat camp, please ask me first. But the point was that one year, someone brought their 6-year-old daughter.
Oh.
Okay. And that's bad enough.
Yeah.
But like, not even double, triple bad. Like, just pit of my stomach still to this day.
Oh.
The little girl comes in with her 2 stick-thin sisters and stick-thin mother.
Oh.
And then the dad walks in, and he's like short and stout. He looks like Danny DeVito. And this little girl just
clearly
looks like
got
her
his
father.
genes. Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, fuck. And now she's being told you're too fat. Now this is her thing.
Go to a camp.
You have to go to fat camp. You're 6. First of all, 6 years
6 years old.
It was sleepaway
Good
camp.
Lord.
6, and she was there for weeks. 6 years old is too young for that at all.
Oh my God.
But it was just like, God, man, she looks like her father, and it's genetic.
Yeah.
And you can plainly see that.
Yes.
And if you've been spending your whole life telling her she's fat when she just is, then that's going to be her thing about food. You know, if you're Alina, you're saying like, oh, you know, chips. My grandparents used to say to me at their house while giving me food.
Right.
And I say, can I have some ketchup? They'd say, ketchup is poison.
Oh.
While having it and giving it to me.
Oh.
Ketchup is poison.
Oh.
Which I think in was like, oh, this is just sugary and it's not good. But I remember that so clearly
Yeah.
that it's like, what the fuck? Like these were the messages that I was
Yes,
given, and
yeah.
maybe plenty more. But that one always stuck out. Like, this is
Oh,
poison, but
that's-
you can have some.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Oh my God.
And so those messages that we give to kids,
even small, like that probably took half a second of your grandparents' life, and they probably forgot about it 2 seconds later that
Yeah.
they said that to you. And here you are 40 years later,
yeah,
and it's still like a beacon in your mind of
Yeah.
something that you remember.
but it's also a little sliver, a very strange, weird, potent
Yeah.
sliver of all the other messaging
Yeah,
they gave me
Yeah.
constantly. You know,
Wow.
meanwhile, I'm dealing with, I think we've talked about before all the reasons like sexual abuse and physical
Yeah,
abuse is
yeah.
a central issue that my weight is based around emotionally
Right.
and physically.
Right.
So it's like, that's also great, telling someone else how they suck because they're fat. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm trying not to get raped again. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like there's so much in it. But when you're just in this, anyway, that got dark.
Yeah.
But it's the messaging we give to our kids. And if you can augment that messaging at all, Alina, knowing that your daughter is 8 years old,
Yeah.
like when you're saying she's heavy, what does that really mean?
Right.
She's been chubby. What did she say?
She says,
Since she was a
she's
toddler?
been overweight since she was a toddler.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the question is to you, is the doctor saying
Right.
this is a problem?
Right.
Or are you taking your experience and saying she's not below the 50th percentile? This is a problem.
Right.
You know?
Good
And
question.
to be conscious of what you might be projecting
Yes.
into the situation.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, so that's a really strong. I mean, just that vision. I think about that little 6-year-old girl
Yeah.
all the time.
Oh, that is just a horrible story.
You know?
Horrible.
Yeah. And being ingrained with that at such a young age, at 6 or 8, or, I
How
was probably that young
traumatizing.
too.
That's traumatizing.
Yeah, it's one of those things that we talk about, one of those moments, one of those messages that you become,
Yeah.
that you just embody.
Ooh.
And if we can avoid putting that stuff on other people,
Yeah.
it's not the same as saying to your albino kid, don't go in the sun.
Right.
You are going to be very sick. It's not the
Yes.
same as saying to your kid, do not take a peanut butter and jelly sandwich from anyone at school.
Right.
You will die.
Right.
It's there's obviously some messages to really
Yeah.
hit home about.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you,
Yes.
stepping away from the food for a second,
Mm-hmm.
would it be beneficial for Alina to talk to her kid, or not even talk to her kid, fuck talking to her kid, just to start her kid on more of I'm not going to say exercise routine, but more of like movement and walking around the neighborhood and getting a little bit of exercise?
Yes, but make it fun, because
Yes.
also my grandmother and my grandfather, when I would go
Yeah.
visit them, they lived across from a park, and my grandmother would make me go and walk around the big duck pond with her.
Oh.
And it was very clear that it was because I was fat. And I
Right.
remember not wanting to do it
Oh.
because
Man, your grandparents sound like such wonderful people.
well, and then look at the wonderful people they raised
Yeah,
that
that's
got
true.
me where I am. Luckily for all of you, I have so much bad advice to share. Because it's funny, when I was telling you about the ketchup thing,
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
thinking about that as well.
Yeah.
And it was so clear
Right.
that you are fat. It's not okay.
Right.
We are walking around this circle.
We're going to do anything we physically can to
Yeah.
change you.
But that would be different if they said, we're going to go to the zoo.
Right.
Like, you're going to, it's putting exercise into this box
Yes.
of you are moving, you are exercising because you are fat, because it is not okay.
Right.
Where we're going to the zoo where we get to walk all day.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and like the zoo costs money. I'm sure there's other things that don't.
Yeah.
You know, where
museums or you know, any kind of thing,
or even just like
The mall.
we're gonna walk to get. I mean, I was gonna say we're gonna walk to get ice cream, but
Yeah,
that's okay too.
Yeah, that's okay too.
You know, like we're gonna walk to the frozen yogurt place. It's such a nice night.
Yeah,
You know, and it's like, well, if you don't want to do that,
And
then
this
we
is-
can't get it.
This is kind of what I was saying when I first brought it up, because it's kind of, you kind of don't want to talk about it. Don't bring up why you're doing it.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't a life lesson for her to learn. You're just getting her happy to go out and move and do things and be active.
You're instilling the healthy things to do. And it's not because you're fat and we're
Right.
doing it. It's because this is good for me too.
Exactly. This is
Like,
just
it's
something
good
that
for,
healthy people
you know,
do.
me to go have a walk
Yeah.
or, you know, make it a game and like whatever
Hell,
the deal
Pokemon
is.
Go. If your 8-year-old loves Pokemon Go,
Ah.
the whole point is to walk around and catch Pokemon.
Yeah.
Go walk around for an hour and catch a billion Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, I am a huge proponent of leading by example.
Yeah.
Leading by
Yeah.
example is
Yeah.
so important to
Yes,
me.
100%.
It's how I choose to, you know, interact with people if I'm in a position where I'm in charge of something. It's, you know, the quickest road to seeing someone as a hypocrite.
Yeah.
If it's, you know,
100%.
well, you do this, but I'm not.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, well, then fuck you. Why should I?
That's all you're
You
learning.
know, if your boss is late to work every day, what are you going to kill yourself to be there on time?
Right, exactly.
But meanwhile, I'm always late for shit. But that was not an example from my life. But that's, you know, part of the messaging isn't the messaging. Here's what I am telling
Right.
you. It's here's how I live my life.
Right. Let's be healthy
You know,
and happy.
On Tuesdays, we walk to the library and I get a book. I'm assuming that Alina lives equidistantly between an ice cream shop, a
And a
yogurt
library.
shop, and a library and the zoo.
That's
Well,
true.
the zoo would be a special thing.
She didn't have to walk to the zoo. She could drive to the zoo.
She could ride a leopard to the zoo. They could take an Uber to the zoo and ride a giraffe home.
There you go.
But
Talk about really blowing your beans.
yeah, it's not obviously, Alina, this is something that I can appreciate.
Yep.
Because I don't have kids, I can appreciate it a lot from your daughter's point of view.
Yeah.
But I very much understand your point of view
Right.
as
As
well.
an adult now, you
Yeah.
can kind of understand.
And your life is not your daughter's life.
Right.
And so you can try to steer her in better ways. But that messaging is so important to not put this on her
Right.
as, you know, the punishment. Here are the punishments you get because you're not good enough. So it's up to us as the adults, and especially
Exactly.
adults with this experience, to interpret it in a way that stresses, you know, not don't worry about it or not ignore them, but
Right.
like, yeah, people are dicks. And then to live your life, I'm going to put it on you because I'm certainly not walking to the fucking zoo right now. You know, to just lead by example
Yeah.
and live your life in an active way
Yeah.
that makes her tag along. She
Right.
wants frozen yogurt. She has to walk to the thing.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a lot.
That's a lot. But that was good. Please let us know, Alina, how that goes. But you're right. I do think we should probably do another one of these episodes fairly soon here.
Yeah.
But if you guys have any questions, especially if we're talking about weight issues, we're probably going to do another weight episode coming up here now. So
Yeah.
please send it to us and let LB ease your burden. Send us your problems at AskLoriBeth.com. You can follow us on all the socials at AskLoriBeth, or just leave us a message with your voice at 1-855-336-2374. That's 1-855-DENBERG or 1-855-Denberg.
And you can find me at LB Denberg on Instagram, at Lori Beth Denberg on Twitter, and at the Lori Beth Denberg fan page on Facebook.
Yeah.
And you can, I'm going to add a new wrinkle.
Oh,
I'm going to change up my shit, dude.
all right. I'm ready.
If you want to hire me for a personalized video, you can do so at memo.com.
Oh.
You can do it at cameo.com or memo.com. It's a new thing.
Interesting. Okay.
So I'm going to make them fight it out. I'm going to have to go to court and go and see, get on the witness stand and say who I want to live with. I want them to fight over me like Kramer versus Kramer. But it's I might not see you for a while, Clark.
Yeah, it's true.
But we're going to release an episode. So.
Yeah, we have episodes, but somebody's taking a little bit of vacation, and we'll see each other.
If you hear an episode where I feel super relaxed, you'll know that I recorded it in Mexico.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week.
Goodbye, bubs.
That Advice stars Lori Beth Denberg and Clark Crozer. The show is produced by me, Jeremy Balon, and part of the Seltzer Kings network. Our theme song is written and performed by Natty Ward. If you or someone you love is in need of some bad advice, you can submit your own question on our socials, all of which are Ask Lori Beth, or on our website at AskLoriBeth.com, or for a nostalgic twist, you can call 1-855-DENBERG. That's right, 1-855-336-2374, and leave your question there. Thanks for listening.